Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the World Championship Series here. This is the Europe Premier League, and we are still in the round of 32, but drawing towards an end of it. Of course, I am Sean Apollo Clark, joined by James Colaris 007 Carroll.
There you go. Thank you very much for that lovely intro, Sean. That was impressive stuff.
I practiced that in the mirror in the bathroom for 20 seconds.
Wow, that's commitment. That is commitment. But yeah, we only have 3 groups left. One of them will be occurring today, obviously, which should be a little bit of a stonker. We have some pretty good players.
That's right, we do.
But we've had a lot of previous days that we need to go over as well.
I mean, yesterday we had a decent group, and I would go as far as to say it was a little bit expected with the results. I wouldn't say that they were too crazy. Of course, we had Welmu going through in first place, followed by Thorzane in second. So that was kind of yesterday, and I'm sure that's the freshest group of all you minds. But there's a bunch of other players that are joining them along the way. And the balance in the round of 16 so far, Protoss have taken a lead. There are 4 Protoss players in the round of 16, 3 Terrans, and 3 Zergs. And then another stat for you to know is that there's so far 3 Koreans and 7 non-Koreans that have made it into the round of 16. And those names, as you can have, you've got it right in front of you now. There's been some quite amazing names that have made it into the round of 16 so far, and also some super underdogs. Yeah,
some very super underdogs. People like Targa, Showtime, and Starbuck. A lot of people are probably asking, well, who are two of the three of those names? Because not a lot of people know about Showtime and Starbuck, but they certainly do after the groups that we had, if you've been following the WCS. So very impressive results by them, but then a ton of fan favorites have indeed perished.
Yeah, there's a lot perished, and there's also quite a few gone through. My personal favorite has got to be 4GG making his way through. I'd love to see him perform well in the round of 16. Let's hope he can do so. And by the way, if you didn't know already, you can go to starcraft2.com/WCS to get all the updates on the Korean scene and on the North American scene as well. Because if you're, following the Europe scene, you already know that already. So now let's focus on today, which is Group F. And as you mentioned before, we are 3 days away now from finishing the round of 32. Today is one of them. And then we go over to next week after DreamHack Bucharest this weekend, where we'll have the 2 other groups on Tuesday and Wednesday. But let's now have a look at today's group.
Yeah, we have a fantastic 4-player lineup in the form of HasuObs, Titan, Nurtio, and Shuttle. And HasuObs right now, I mean, he sits at the top of the pile in terms of German representatives. Did last season, is kind of this season as well with TLO, down and out. He's the 2-time, 2 back-to-back EPS champion, the current champion in Germany. And after Season 2's performance, that round of 8 was a scorcher for him. So he's looking to continue on that form.
Yeah, everybody knows his style. Slow, patient, and very, very long-winded. And that's to sum HasuObs up. In between the finish that he had in Season 2, by the way, he also qualified for the World Cyber Games. This is the German representative. So another little German trophy he's got next to his name. But let's see if he can continue to push forward in a big European Premier League, which is, of course, the World Championship Series. And another player that did rather well for himself last season, improving from Season 1, is our next player on the list, Titan.
Yeah, Mr. Titan. He's a hard worker, as we've previously mentioned, and playing for Rocks. So he does sit at 41st place on the WCS ranking, which, to my surprise more than anything, was higher than HasuObs. HasuObs having that performance last season. Titan's been a little bit more consistent in his results elsewhere and does garner that spot. So we'll see if he's able to advance on here today.
He almost made it to the round of 8 last season.
Yeah.
He almost beat MC in that final match. If anybody recalls the round of 16, he almost beat MC. There was one mistake that kept him away from moving on, and he almost did it, and that would have been fantastic. Let's see if he can work on those performances and kick off into the round of 16 here today. And, well, I think the first thing we should say is welcome back, Nurtio.
Yeah.
Played in Season 1, dropped down from Season 1 in the round of 16, had to go through his way in Challenger League for 2 seasons in a row, bear in mind, Season 1 Challenger League and Season 2. But is finally back, I think we can say, to the level he belongs, at the least the minimum level that he belongs.
Yeah, after having the performances in Wings of Liberty, it would be a little bit difficult to imagine a Europe without Nurchio sitting at one of those top spots. And again, he's back on form, I would say. He kind of realized that there was that slump at the beginning of Heart of the Swarm and has really, really worked hard on getting back to this position. And I actually would be scared for this group. I think he could advance on.
I completely agree with you. He's put in thousands of games in the last thousands and thousands of games in the last couple of months to really work hard, as you said, to get back into business. And then I would like to look at this next player as probably the least favorite to move on from this group, Shuttle. Also known as Mental King, formerly of NS Hoso, which is the jacket he's wearing on screen, you can see there. This is going to be a difficult group for him. He's playing from Korea. He's playing against 3 players. HasuObs great against Terran. Titan great against Terran. And Nurchio's on a winning streak against Terran. So all the odds seem against him, but can he define them?
Well, he's been bouncing back and forth between Challenger and Premier for the past 2 seasons. And now he is back here again. So at least he has the consistency to rise up to the round of 32 every single time in the Premier League to battle it back through Challenger, which can be a grueling process in itself. But it's getting past this point that he has to do, because otherwise, as being a Korean player and being stuck at the round of 32 in Europe, that's not a good position.
It's not a good position, round of 16, where it's the location that every Korean wants to go to. Well, let's move on now and have a look at the bracket and how things shape up, who's going to be playing against who, and just to go over the bracket one more time for you, in case you didn't know how it worked. Isn't that right, Kalaris?
Yeah, that's true. Second match of the night will be Titan versus Nurchio, but first we will start things off with HasuObs versus Shuttle. As always, guys, dual tournament format here, so winners will play at winners for that first round of 16 spot. Losers fall down to the lower bracket to then battle for an opportunity to fight against the loser of the upper, so they can get a second round of 16 spot.
That's right, so two spots up for grabs. We'll see which 2 players of the 4 within this group can do so. So let's now move on to our first game of the evening. I'm quite looking forward to if the German can continue on playing well. And I believe he can do so here today.
Yeah, I certainly think so as well. HasuObs, he's a hard worker. One slight disadvantage he will have to him is the fact that a week or 2 back, he was on holiday for quite a while abroad. So maybe that bit into a little bit of his practice time. But aside from that, I would say that he does have a clear advantage here going up against Shuttle, who hasn't looked that great in the round of 32s, has dropped out consistently. Yeah. Can he make up that ground?
We'll see if he can do so, because he's had a couple of beatings from different Protoss players in the round of 32 over the seasons. Naniwa 0-4 in Season 1, and then in Season 2, he got stomped by MC as well. So we'll see how well he can do today. We are now ready to begin the first game of the evening, Claris. I'm very excited for this one. Let's see if the holiday man can bring back success from abroad, if you know what I mean. And I think he can do so. But one thing, though, even though he hasn't been practicing a lot, the way that Protoss versus Terran play isn't changed. Over months and months and months, it really hasn't changed. The one small development that we've seen as of late is some double forge play, some more upgrade-focused players coming back into fashion with the help of the Mothership Core to be able to defend. But I'm pretty sure that HasuObs is going to be very confident and probably looking to rival Nurchio for a top finish, please.
Yeah, I would certainly say so here as well. But again, we actually can't count out Titan. I can't decide between these 3 players actually moving on. I would give Shuttle a little bit of a disadvantage because he's playing from Korea, because he hasn't done so well in the round of 32. These the other 3 have a good shot though. So Frost is our first map here in this first best of 3 as Hasu gears up to go against Shuttle, and everyone is getting loaded up into this first game. I'm looking forward to this. It's always nice to see HasuObs play. Again, I'm pretty sure if I had to calculate the amount of minutes a caster has spent casting HasuObs, I'm probably up there, as I always get stuck in 50-minute games with him. But now we can jump into game number 1, as we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner here as our red Terran representing Korea. He is Shuttle. And down to the bottom right, as our blue Protoss representing Mousesports and Germany, we have HasuObs.
And because of playing from Korea, this matchup is up there when it comes to being able to micro properly. It's very difficult to fight against High Templar with Storm and use your Ghost efficiently in the circumstances, excuse me, that Shuttle's playing under. So the way that he's going to have to play this game is to either outsmart his opponent when it comes to builds, to trick him to think one way and go the other, or we're going to see a lot of, like yesterday, quote-unquote timings come out from Shuttle with a couple of SCV pulls and so on. So that's the playstyle I'd expect him to go for in this series against HasuObs. And on the other side, HasuObs is going to play pretty much the same, but even more defensive than normal, if that's even possible.
Yeah, he knows what's probably on the way for him, so he'll be able to react accordingly to his normal style. And before we actually get into this, we should also give a big shout out to our lovely sponsors, Roccat, as well, here for the WCS Europe. A big shout out to those guys. Hashtag Roccat as well as hashtag WCS over on Twitter, guys, for your opportunity to win a Cone Pure Optical Mouse. But you have to include the second place finisher in this group. You have to predict it. So make sure you go and do that.
That's right. Welcome on board, guys. Welcome on board. The build's starting to shape up now, with Shuttle going for a barracks and gas play. And HasuObs gets in there and sees it very easily, so he's going to be like, all right, well, okay, so it looks like we are going to have an aggressive start to this series.
Yep. He's just going to mosey on over there with that initial Reaper. And this is a map that you can jump in quite a few locations, be it at the main or over here to the left-hand side as well. So you certainly have an opportunity to try and breach it. Actually, no, you can't jump up this one, can you? It's double size. But regardless, here on Frost, he's just going to have a run on around, and Shuttle is not going to scout out his opponent for quite a while.
Yeah, Shuttle has already seemed to be having a plan here, and with HasuObs scouting out that this is definitely going to be a more aggressive game here, with gas being brought in so early, the factory's going to be put down quite early in this game too, after the reactor's been thrown down to increase that marine count. So HasuObs knows what's coming, and this is a big map. You know, this is definitely a map where most Terran players go command center first, or if they want to be a little bit slow with the command center, one barracks command center. But Reaper opening's not that popular here, so HasuObs already knows the task that is ahead of him, which is to not take losses versus this Reaper, and then to not take losses versus the follow-up factory.
And the Mothership Core already pops out, gets one probe kill, so not too bad. We'll scoot on out here as well, as we have that expansion now on the way for Shuttle. But again, everything's been seen, so he's completely transparent.
Yeah, I mean, HasuObs been able to get this probe in. It's seen everything, but very interestingly, a barracks is the follow-up here for Shuttle, not the factory. So this is a little bit of a difference. What's going to end up happening here, because he's changed his build from the norm, which is to get the factory, he's already got 200 gas in the bank. And that's not really efficient for him to be able to, you know, spread his resources in the directions that he needs to send them. So what we'll end up seeing is that, yeah, tech lab will come down and then stim will come down, but he's still going to have a lot of excess gas. So through changing his build here, it's not the most streamlined build, but one thing that could work in his favor, Colaris, is the fact that HasuObs may be expecting the factory play, which is meant to be coming from this. So if he builds forges, cannons, and overreacts a little bit here, maybe without too many observers, this could equalize out quite well.
And HasuObs, he does have that Robo Filter going down. He's also going to end up probably throwing the Forge down just for that standard macro go-to build here for Protoss. And luckily enough for HasuObs, the Reaper just barely missed this probe up to the north. So that's a really, really nice little boon there for HasuObs. Can eventually throw down pylons.
This Mothership Core here is really smart if he's able to get in there. And he has a recall if something was to go wrong, because what he's going to go in and see just before the Forge is ready is, oh, he's got barracks. Well, that's interesting. I thought we were playing against a factory here. So what he'll do now with the Forge is just get his +1 armor, which is kind of normal, but he won't spend excess money on the 150 minerals for a cannon in each mineral line. 300 minerals he's saving himself there with that Mothership Core Scout.
Certainly very nice. And those Stalkers trying to catch out that Reaper, but it does dive in. And Shuttle is just going to get full confirmation that his opponent is playing out a steady macro game. With this, actually, did he see the Forge? Yes, he did anyway. So, yeah, by the by.
Bye-bye, Reaper, and was caught by probes. So from here on out, the game has kind of normalized, and I would say there's a little bit of an edge towards HasuObs. It's definitely not a big one, but a small one here, as he's got his robotics bay down. He's scouted his opponent, who is playing a little bit behind where he would usually be because of the high gas that he was floating around with in the earlier stages. That definitely would have liked to have been a bit better of a mineral income from him. But from here on out, it's all go. It's anyone's game.
Yeah.
As we do have the kind of setup about to happen. So the Terran player is going to just wait until he has many medivac's most likely here, unless he tries to poke for the mothership core bait out. And HasuObs is on his highway to the Colossus.
And Shuttle, yeah, just poking out into the middle of the map with this army. Might try and force out a little bit of a reaction from HasuObs at the very front here. If not that photon overcharge to try and deny this, but Shuttle is moving forwards.
I liked how he spent his gas here on Marauders. There's quite a few Marauders with this, 4. And that is quite deadly. Of course, if they were to get towards these units, especially with Stim only being good old 20 seconds away from finishing.
It has been fully spotted, and will have to run away for now. And, well, the armor is about to finish here for HasuObs as well. So that plus Guardian Shields, if an engagement comes, it's going to mean not too much damage done by this bio.
Yeah, he's going to have to force field well, though, just to wait for his Colossus. It's very close from coming out here. But Shuttle, with a photon overcharge available on this Nexus, can't really do too much here, to be honest.
Oh, and there's actually Stim going to go for this. Great force fields have actually sealed a lot of that army in, so they are going to die off at the cost of a mothership core and quite a few sentries. But the Colossus coming out will shoo this away nicely.
No, that was pretty good from Shuttle. That was actually kind of nice. HasuObs' force fields there were they were set up where they caught a lot of units, but in catching a lot of units was also catching a lot of damage too, because as you mentioned, he lost the mothership core. He doesn't have another photon overcharge to deal with the drops that come in. He lost a couple of sentries, which means he's not going to be able to help control the defense around the Colossus very much. And that means he's probably going to have to replenish those sentries. And if he needs to replenish those sentries, that's maybe not going to be the Templar Archives coming in as fast as he hopes it for, with the Twilight Council almost finished.
Yeah, he has to recuperate those losses. So now HasuObs, I like how Shuttle is playing this out. You know, he denies that, so he goes for an expansion off the back of this. There's not really a whole lot of room that Hasu can move out with right now. And not only that, I guess he's just going to have to warp in harassment zealots here to try and spot this third, because he's not going to see it for a while.
Yeah, he can expect it to be down, though. Definitely can expect it to come down. If it wasn't down now, he'd be facing an all-in, but that could be a possible angle that his opponent would take.
Yeah.
The Observer, though, has gone in and saw 2 extra barracks being added on quite later on than if they were to be an all-in off 2 bases.
Yeah.
So upon seeing these barracks, he definitely knows that there's a 3rd base down, even without seeing it. So it works out okay here for HasuObs.
And Blink's on the way, so that gas investment there to try and make that work out. Whoop, Stim's up, and he may have come for that Colossus, but feels a little bit wary about that. Oh, gets one at the front, though. A nice double-pronged attack here by Shuttle.
HasuObs maybe, as you say, a little bit rusty off coming back from holiday, because he is making a couple of positional mistakes here. That Colossus being killed off on the natural, and it could lose another one now as well on the natural if it was to stay there out of position.
It certainly could do. This army at the back of this mineral line is actually going to do quite a bit. He's going to kill off the cannon and then force a little bit of lost mining time.
There's not a lot on the natural.
Yeah, he's being strung left, right, and center. This is difficult here for HasuObs. This army, it's just not in the right position. It's not big enough even. I mean, 55 army supply to 38. Not too bad. Force fields will seal a lot of that in. But at the same time, he's taking some damage.
Shuttle's playing really well here. We have to commend him of how well he's actually playing. Very, very strong.
57 workers to 48, and the armory is going to go down with that 2nd engineering bay as well. So his upgrades aren't going to be lacking behind too much here against HasuObs. Currently sat at 1-1, whilst he sits at 1-0.
The only one thing that he's sacrificing in being so aggressive is throwing down the additional barracks. He actually needs a bunch of barracks, like 3 more barracks to come down, a minimum here, to be able to keep up the production. He's only on 5, so that's one thing he's missing, but he's been so aggressive all over the map. Unfortunately, losing a drop on the natural there. But a good start here from Shuttle. Didn't expect him to come out this strong.
And this army being positioned at the front might provoke him to actually go for the drop in the men. Indeed, it is going to. 1 Colossus coming back, but he could actually lose that as well, as they strayed way too far away from the bio. But even still, with the army, it's not enough to defeat the DPS of the Colossus.
Blink does come in to pick up a bit of recovery there, I suppose you could say, for HasuObs, who is going to have to fall back on an expansion now. He does have 13 Stalkers, but with only 2 Colossus and 1 almost dead, it's not really the power punch you'd like if he was to move out to be aggressive with this.
Yeah, certainly not. Even setting a pylon down next to this 3rd base.
He's chrono boosting his gateways. He wants to try to go for this. I don't think this is going to work out for him here.
He's got a lot of Stalkers. Maybe he can kill off the Vikings and then try and leave the room open for his Colossi, but That's going to be difficult.
I mean, he's picked off like 3 Vikings already, so that's actually kind of helpful for him here.
Only 5 Vikings left. SCVs come off the line. Shuttle feels is in a little bit of trouble here, and those force fields will deny a lot of that bio actually from getting in good position, but he needs to kill off the Vikings because the 2 Colossus are just about to die.
And if the Colossus die, it's sledgehammers versus kittens.
Yeah, it really is. Those Marauders just moving on forwards and trouncing those Stalkers, but at the same time, he killed off a few workers, 15 in total.
Yeah, 15 in total there, but he's not on 3 Nexus, so it really doesn't matter what he kills off here. And sledgehammers versus kittens, even though they can pounce away with Blink, doesn't really matter that much because the Colossus is the big power. It's the damage output to these units. So right now, HasuObs is in a lot of trouble and actually facing defeat in Game 1 if something doesn't change soon.
Yeah, the kittens need those lions to actually back them up, unfortunately. Otherwise, the sledgehammer's just going to pound their way through those poor little faces. But now, HasuObs, he does have 1 Colossus back at home. Second one is going to come along, rendezvous with this as well. And the Templar Archive starts. But again, where's the 3rd Nexus? It's getting too late. Far too late.
Yeah, far too late indeed. Nice Blink Stalkers, though, or Stalkers to say the minimum here are blinking around. Did get a couple of units hit, but I wouldn't be surprised with the... Okay, the Viking count's too low. Because there is going to be another Colossus joining the one that's already out, so that's 2.
Yeah.
I was going to say there is a possibility that we could see an SCV pull, but it hit perfect on the Templar Archives. But without any Vikings, he can't really do that here.
Yeah, certainly not. He's trying to add on a few more. If he went with 2 Colossus, do you think he could do some damage with the lack of gateway units he has? Or does he have to just keep playing this out far longer?
HasuObs?
Yeah.
No, he actually needs to take a 3rd Nexus.
Yeah.
I am not too sure what he's trying to do here. He's actually going to hide in the 3rd Nexus. That's what he's going to do. Wow. He realizes how much trouble he's in. If he was to put a 3rd Nexus down of the 2 bases which are closer to his natural, he's going to lose it straight away because of the presence which Shuttle has due to playing this game so well.
Yeah. I mean, this scan not only reveals where those Stalkers are, but it also reveals the fact that the 3rd is still not down without him having any units there. There is a little bit of Zealot harass for HasuObs, as is normal tradition here in the German scene, and it forces away a lot of the income, but aside from that, Shuttle... He knows he's in a really commanding lead here in game number 1.
Yeah, he's playing so far better than I thought he would here. I really didn't think he'd bring this kind of performance. I personally pegged him as bottom in this group, if I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But he's really, given a performance that could warrant a place in the round of 16 if he continues on like this. He has found the pylon, which is harassing him with a single Marine, so that'll be dealt with soon. But the problem for HasuObs is that he's going to face a very strong 200 army, 200 supply army, in seconds time, and he's only on +2 armor and not kind of close to +2 attack either.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. What upgrades do we have out for the Terran right now? 2-1 in favor of the weapons. So eventually he's going to continue rocketing up because he's got extra gas coming in from this 3rd base as well. And Hasu's 3rd base up in the top right-hand corner is not going to gain a lot of traction for a lot of time. If he tries to transfer up there, a Marine will end up seeing that transfer, so he's just going to have to hide it completely and get all those probes from the Nexus, not from the transfer.
Well, if HasuObs is going to be the defensive player, which he normally is, he needs to bring that more than ever now. He needs to hold off against an attack, which will be coming very, very soon, as the 200 supply will be hit. In a couple of seconds' time, as you can see in the top right, 193, or in the top middle, whichever one you're looking at. I actually look at the top right a lot more. I never look at the top middle.
Yeah, if you play a lot of ladder, you're more used to looking up to the top right, I would say, more than anything. So I sometimes fall into that as well. But now, here, plenty of Zealots, once again, going for the harassment. 20 workers have been killed, 1920. So he's trying to keep his opponent at bay, keep him back, but I don't know how well that's going to work out now with Shuttle maxed out and probably going to be looking for that fight.
Well, HasuObs is starting to catch up, isn't he, with 171 to 197. The one bad thing here for Shuttle is that he has only 7 barracks. It's not that high. It's actually very low for a normal game here. So his remaxing capabilities are going to be kind of slow. So if HasuObs has a good fight and is able to counterattack, I don't think Shuttle will be able to deal with it. So that is something for the future, but here in the present is this attack.
Yeah, could do a lot of damage. Kill off that cannon and maybe just move forwards, but no, he's going to look for an alternate path here to actually go for the aggression.
High Templars everywhere on the left and the right.
Ooh, nice. Not too bad storms. Catch a lot of that. Caught the Vikings more than anything. They are relatively weak here at this point. Just keep going with those storms.
He doesn't want to waste his storms on the Vikings. He's got no Colossus. He needs to kill this army.
It sort of doesn't matter in the end, though. Another High Templar coming from the back, though. Could land a storm, and he will actually land quite a lot of those. Zealot's going to charge forwards, trying to retain as many of the units as he can do, with the storms doing damage. HasuObs has taken a supply advantage here, but there's still a lot of bio.
And he's lost the Nexus now. He's lost the Nexus. And there's a lot of Marine Marauders that have been left over. And with Medivacs with a bit of energy left, they're going to heal as well.
Yeah, a lot of that art supply advantage is in the form of that probe, 30 probe lead, so that's not going to help him out too much in an engagement, but still, this base up to the top right could bring Hasu back into it. I think Shuttle feels he's in a bit more of a better position. Uh-oh, those probes.
Well, he sees the probes moving out. He's like, huh?
Like, where were you going?
Yeah, I think he might realize now that there should be an expansion somewhere up north, because that was a bit of a weird movement out.
Yeah, it was. The Marines not scouted for there by HasuObs, and thus does reveal his plot and plan. Look at all the Medivacs. Look where they're going. It's like, well, actually, it looks as if he just wants to reinforce his fourth base and kill off the pylon. But again, big telltale signs here if Shuttle wants to read into them.
Well, Shuttle, 155 supply to 144, but the army supply is 116.
Yeah.
And he's got +3 attack now. And that's obviously a very good upgrade to have going up against these units, especially because they don't have +3 armor yet. Well, they've about to, will actually, so not too big of a deal.
The thing is that despite Shuttle having that little bit of a lead, HasuObs is nowhere near death, I want to say, because Hasu's the kind of player that's just going to sit back on these High Templars for a long, long time and not really take the damage. He's content to just throw in Zealots, and kill off workers wherever he can. And look at even Zealots coming from the top right down to that fourth base to do some harassment there as well.
The problem is there's still no Vikings in this composition. There wasn't any, or there was quite a lot in the last one, but there isn't any here. There's 14 Medivacs on the field. It's actually probably too many.
And the Zealots are going to work up this fourth base, but the Planetary Fortress will hold that. 128 armor supply to 94. Again, it's going to be the storms that are the game changers here. Lands one on a small clump of that bio, but not too much just yet.
And here comes a fight. A lot of snipes going down. He needs to get some storms off here. There's a High Templar coming from the natural Nexus, which could get some beastly storms down.
Yeah, it certainly could. There's one on the high ground as well that he could use, and he does use it. Clips a little bit out right-hand flank.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a very good storm, especially in the Time Warp as well. Great synergy there by HasuObs. He's going to keep his opponent at bay. There was an EMP at the very beginning of that fight that did land on 2 High Templars, but look, Shuttle has to run straight away.
I remember technically HasuObs is on 4 bases. This base to the top right is starting to pay off. The longer the game went on, the more that would become valuable to HasuObs, and he's got a lot of gas. And there's still only 7 barracks, which is really, really low. So it's very difficult to rebuild that army kind of fast here for Shuttle. So right now, HasuObs is, I would say, leading.
Yeah.
Leading this game after being able to survive so long with that Nexus to the top right. It's given him such an edge here.
Yeah, it seems as if she's shaken off a little bit of that rust in the first moments of this game. And now is playing a bit of a better game. Meanwhile, Shuttle, I'm not sure how he's actually going to break it. He needs more Vikings. He is getting them. He has double starports, pumping those away. And, you know, HasuObs, he still has quite a few High Templars, 9 in total. So they're going to keep HasuObs very defensively safe for a long time.
There's an SCV about to go scout the top right, but with Zealot charge...
It should die, I think. Where's Zealot? It recharges.
Yeah, it should die.
Yeah.
It's going to be close. He might see Zealots up to the high ground, so he may know.
Ooh. Yeah.
He sees a couple of Zealots up there, so he probably knows there's an expansion there. A little bit unfortunate for Shuttle, because that expansion, just one Medivac would have probably picked that entire base off.
Yeah, it could have been a lot earlier.
And now HasuObs is almost on 5 bases. He's got a great army. He's got his +3 attack coming in now as well. 3 Colossus, 9 High Templar.
He didn't have Mobius Reactor for a long time with this. These ghosts, so they've been a little less effective than they normally would have been. That being said, they were sat around for a while, so they have accrued some energy, and HasuObs has to run away with that Zealot holding the Watchtower.
He's got a lot of Vikings now, and he's got a lot of Medivacs. So he's got a good combination of units now. Not too many ghosts, 6. So storms have been kind of vital for HasuObs so far, and they'll continue to be so.
Yeah, looks like Shuttle wants to go through this bottom bridge location, sending a small army forwards, which is very important when you're going to try and traverse this piece of terrain, as storms and force fields and time warps can shut you down completely over there. So very, very nicely pressured here by Shuttle.
One Storm catches the back end of those units.
And this is the problem. Even the retreat out is really difficult along that path, so you've got to be super careful when you go along that. Likewise, HasuObs, there was a great concave set up on there on that side for Shuttle that would have ripped Hasu apart if he'd have kept going.
HasuObs only sits at 8 gateways now. Definitely needs to be adding on some more because he's got a lot of money in the bank and he's pretty much maxed out. He's added on the robotics facility, a second one, so he can build double Colossus and a Dark Shrine here, so he's going to harass these bases. And with only a single turret to the north base, the Planetary Fortress, if he warps in 2 DTs and a couple of Zealots, he could actually pick off that Planetary Fortress. So everything seems to be going in HasuObs' direction. I can't help but feel, though, that this was Shuttle's, game to lose in the early stages.
Yeah, it was Shuttle's game, but Halo Probe, where are you going? I guess he's going somewhere else. But HasuObs, his army's still very strong. He doesn't have many Zealots or anything, but he still has 13 High Templars out around this area.
Yeah, I mean, Shuttle's army's very strong too, so it's really going to come down to can these storms hit right? Because if they don't hit right, then Shuttle could still win this.
Nice storms will push away that initial bioforce that does move forwards with this army, and Shuttle continues to pile on the pressure at this pseudo 4th base that he believes it to be the 4th base. Nice storm hits a lot of that bio as well. He continues to move on forward straight into storms again. That bio's very low. He has to be careful. He could get the Nexus and just try and run away, but he has to risk the storms.
All right, well, this is a very close fight. Another good storm does come down here, but with all the reinforcements which should be coming from HasuObs, a lot of Zealots here, and there's so many storms left, I think. There's like 4 or 5 storms left.
And he's going to leave a bit of that bio and kill the Nexus off and then run away, because you're right, there are so many storms. Has to be super careful about what he's going to do there.
Yeah. Where are these Zealots that should be coming to warped in?
Needs a lot of them.
So a couple of DTs with this army now too, and more High Templar coming to play.
Army supplies 100 against 71 here. Probe count 69 against 44. So Shuttle's army is always going to be superior in size once those max outs come along. And Shuttle, well, his economy's not too terrible. He needs to maybe get another base up to the north. But he's always susceptible to this Zealot harass that's going to continue from HasuObs for a long time.
Yeah, there's no close pylon, so it's going to not be really consistent. It'll just be one hit and then a minute or 2 later another hit.
Yeah.
So it won't be wave after wave after wave because he has done a good job of clearing up the pylons. But I think that with the HasuObs getting a bit more comfortable again, should be wanting to send a probe out. And of course, we are past the 30-minute mark. It's a HasuObs game. Of course we are.
Yeah, of course. He's not going to give up that easily, as he was in a bit of a deficit at the beginning of this game. But, I mean, look at the position they're in now. They're toe-to-toe, level pegging. HasuObs might even have a little bit of an advantage as he blinks out with these Stalkers, poking away at his opponent. And, again, there's a lot of High Templars there. Yeah,
so at this stage of the game, it's always going to come down to the fights between both of them. The snipes have to be perfect. He really can't get hit by storms. There's only a single Colossus, so it's not that too big of a deal. Bit of a woof of a storm there.
Yep.
And there's still a lot more to go.
Hit absolutely nothing, but HasuObs with a few High Templars at the back here. It doesn't really matter, if he hits nothing with a single storm. He can always fall back onto the massive amount of High Templars he has up there.
Well, Shuttle's running out of money, and he hasn't taken a new base. So this is going to be one fight which he has to do well. There's no more rebuilding. There's no more replenishing this army, buddy.
Yeah.
So he has to do this well if he's not going to take another base very soon. HasuObs, on the other hand, though, because he's got this base to the top right and now a newly taken 5th base in the center of the field, he's got a lot of resources to play around with, a lot of new units to be made, a lot of cannons to help defend this area. He's got like 8 cannons there.
Yeah, it's a really, really well fortified position, and he knows that's the focal point of his opponent's attacks, so that's always going to be a great place to throw down those cannons.
Yeah,
as he tries to push on forwards.
High Templar everywhere.
Yeah, there really is. Nice storm hits that, and how much is he going to be able to do? A little bit of a whiff of a storm once again. Another base down to the south here, but it was already being harassed by a Zealot. There was an attempt at a base up to the north from Shuttle, but that got denied by one Zealot alone. These Stalkers got a few Vikings there, and they didn't even get the Colossus during that.
Well, Shuttle's army's getting, worn down here, storm by storm, cannon hit by cannon hit.
Yeah.
Stalker bullet by Stalker bullet. As Shuttle does move forward here, this is a good place to EMP, and he does get some good EMPs off here, but there's still High Templar with energy.
Yeah, he's going to throw down a storm on the Vikings, but at the same time, the base does get obliterated there by those Colossi. Ghost trying to move on forwards, but they are being revealed by an observer, so a little bit harder for them to do much here. And again, the storms keep raining down. He landed an EMP on some of those. And this bio is going to continue to push through HasuObs. Hasu has to be very, very careful.
Yeah, a couple of DTs are getting warped in so he can get into the army, I think, here to try to harass. Or try to pick off as many units as he can, sorry. And he's doing a good enough job with them, I think.
Yeah, the scans keep going down, though, and will continue to try and push this back. But again, well, Shuttle takes a massive army supply lead. He has to continue reinforcing. He's going to aggressively. The storms keep raining down, but it's not doing enough for HasuObs. Shuttle has an umbrella.
I think that HasuObs can still hold this, though. He just needs to keep on warping in Zealots here, surely. Yeah. There's a lot of medivacs, though, so they are healing a lot of these units. HasuObs is on the back foot. Another DT gets warped in, praying that there is not another scan available.
I think there's too much here. I mean, he could, yes, warp in a round of like 10 Zealots, but against this bio, he can't do it. All Shuttle has to do is reinforce, stim across with those reinforcements in the middle, and then rip everything apart.
There's more and more Zealots coming in. This is close. Another Colossus about to come into play too, and there's no Vikings, but is there going to be enough protection to this? HasuObs is getting broken down here with Shuttle and a supply lead. The Colossus comes out with its +3 attack. It needs to do the damage here, but if he was to pick any units up and drop it on top of the Colossus?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Shuttle is playing this out really well, considering the kind of mid stages of this game. He had the advantage. It slightly swung back to HasuObs, but now Shuttle, with this great pressure, has been able to shut HasuObs down for quite a lot of it. DT is going to get in the mix again, but there's plenty of scans. Plenty of scans.
Yeah, plenty of scans available. The Colossus is about to be targeted down. Time Warp helps him stay alive here as the Zealots and DTs are starting to wear this down a little bit. The reinforcements coming in, but remember, Shuttle is running out of money. He can't keep doing this forever. And if HasuObs continues to micro this Colossus back and keep it alive, maybe somehow there's a way back in, especially with the second Colossus coming in. 4 new Zealots, 5 new Zealots here to help out.
Yeah, these could actually hold on here. He needs to get maybe a few more gateway units to try and help this out. Those medevacs have been keeping this bio armor for a long time. He has one personal medevac for each of these bio units at this point.
And even a sentry coming in now to kind of help this out. If they were to come up, he can split them up a little bit here. And HasuObs is starting to deal a lot of damage with 2 Colossus with +3 attack, dealing so much damage each.
Yeah. He's babysitting these Colossi. He knows he absolutely has to keep those alive here if he's going to retain this position. And he's actually doing... one of them does go down, but he's actually making this work. I can't believe the resilience here of HasuObs.
Well, he's got such a better income than his opponent. He's mining like 1,000 to nothing, I suppose, because he's on a couple of bases that are still mining. His opponent's running out of resources, and HasuObs, by the skin of his teeth, holds on to this game with 2 Colossus now out, more High Templar getting warped in, and Shuttle says, by God, how much money do you have?
Oh, those medevacs might actually spot that base that's almost mined down up to the top right. And he might be a bit sad now as he sees those gateways up there as well. This is going to be a heartbreaker here for Shuttle. It's been such a scrappy back and forth game. But HasuObs has a big advantage now.
Yeah, he's going to start to just rebuild an army, which probably can't be dealt with because he keeps on warping in Zealots to deal with the new base that is trying to establish itself for Shuttle in the bottom left, because there's a pylon and cannon right at the south side, which just keep on warping in a Zealot or 2.
Look, he now sees the full extent of those minerals. There you go, GG. HasuObs takes the first game. After what looked, it could have gone either way. It really could have. Shuttle played a phenomenal game as well.
Yeah, he played a really good game considering the circumstances of what we've been told by the admins, that he is playing from Korea. So this is a good performance by Shuttle. Let's see if he can continue to do so. He almost won the game in the early stages. He almost had it in the later stages. But HasuObs' expansions across the map on such a big map kept him alive and kept him making units.
And that's one of those things that would go down to, just the, lack of scouting. He kept trying, but HasuObs did deny it over and over. And then maybe not too familiar with the map. Just a slight unfamiliarity with it. Well, Belshire Vestige is the next map, which these guys are gosh darn familiar with.
Yeah, they'll know this down to the T. I wonder if we could see some aggressive play come out from either of the players, because HasuObs has been trying to mix that into his games a little bit. Against MMA last season, when he lost 3 games to 1, he was trying to mix things up a little bit because he knows his play style is very see-through. It's very defensive, it's very set back. But he has mixed in some aggressive builds in his recent times, trying to build his repertoire up a little bit when it comes to his Protoss versus Terran. We'll see if that can work out for him. But I think, knowing that Shuttle is having to deal with longer games and probably struggling with that, the HasuObs will probably be hoping for a long game again.
Yeah, he seemed to, hit his comfort zone there. Shuttle is just rebooting his PC, guys, whilst we get into game number 2. So a slight delay here. But aside from that, still more great games on the way for today. I would like to see more games like that. Yeah, it's not the highest level of play, but scrappy situations like that can make for very entertaining times. And
yeah.
I love casting crazy stuff.
It's either 100% perfection by both players, or scrappy games makes the entertaining ones, because anything in the middle is usually one-sided.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this can continue on. Shuttle, as you said, is rebooting. I don't know, maybe a lag issue or something along those lines. Belcher Vestige, I mean, what do you foresee from Shuttle here, potentially?
I wouldn't actually mind Shuttle playing out the same game. Maybe with, once he takes that third command center, a little bit of the addition of the earlier barracks to try and, power across, because his macro could have really hit hard against HasuObs' wall very, very strongly if maybe that would have been there. So if he evaluates his game number 1 and takes that into account, I think he could do some significant damage to HasuObs.
All right, we'll see if he can do that damage, as we are almost ready now to begin game number 2. Remember that there is that chance to win the Rockat's mouse here today, this one, the Pure Optical Cone, Pure Optical mouse. And all you need to do is to hashtag on Twitter, hashtag Rockat and hashtag WCS, with who you think is going to be finishing in second place in today's Group F. And if you select right, if you guess one of 4 players, Rockat will scan through, and if you are selected by Rockat, you have your chance to win, or you will win it if they pick you.
During that first game, Shuttle did have his unit skin on. I wanted to mention it, but it wasn't really important at the time. But he's being just told now by the admins to turn it off, as unit skins are technically banned in the WCS system, or in WCS Europe at least. So it doesn't make too much of a difference, though. It's the Zerglings that mostly are a little bit of an annoyance to people. But now we will get into game number 2 here in just a second. Belcher Vestige, as we said before, is our map. Our final map, if we need it, I'm curious, would be Derelict Watcher.
Okay.
So, but we could quite easily see this go on to a 1-1. We really could. Shuttle had opportunities there to kill off his opponent, but it would be cool to see HasuObs mix things up a little bit as well. Maybe if he goes a bit aggressive.
We'll have to find out. Strategies will be revealed in a couple of moments' time. Once we jump into this, I feel that this is probably going to be a HasuObs victory overall. I thought that at the start of the series. Shuttle did bring a pretty solid performance. Obviously, things can always be better in a game of StarCraft, but a good performance from him. Started out really strong and probably caught HasuObs off guard a little bit by the way that he was playing so aggressive. Yeah. Units on the natural, units dropping into the main. And if he's able to bring a similar performance to the start of game number 1 there, and maybe put the end of game number 1 together with the beginning of game number 1, he could stack a win.
He certainly could. So let's jump into game number 2 here, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our red Protoss representing Mousesports, as well as Germany. He is HasuObs. And up to the top left-hand corner, our blue Terran representing Korea. He is Shuttle. Currently teamless.
That's right. Formerly of NSOSO, and after that, Clarity Gaming. But not anymore. He's by himself, which seems to be happening quite a lot in the Korean scene. And he'd have to probably pay his own way to come here if he's got no team, just like Genius is doing and said he was doing on Twitter.
Which is cool of these players, you know? I mean, they pay their own way here and to look for further rounds. And players like Genius, maybe like Shuttle as well, if they get into the round of 16, there's a good chance if they're playing live, they could move on further. So you gain yourself quite a bit of money in that regard.
Some obs is lagging.
Oh,
all right, at least it isn't Slivko's day.
Yeah.
That's been and gone.
Hasu's not as muscly, and I imagine Shuttle's not as muscly as well.
No, no one's like Slivko.
No
one at all.
No one. Not on the planet. He's a bear of a man, as we've said before. But now, Shuttle, I mean, what does he get up to? What is he going to do? Looks like he wants to go for that barracks.
Yep.
And I won't be surprised if we saw Reapers again, to be honest, but we'll see.
Well, we'll see if he takes that gas now, won't we? And he does, so yeah, we have it.
Woohoo! So he's just going to get a bit of scouting on his opponent. HasuObs, meanwhile, is checking everywhere to make sure his opponent isn't going to go for some kind of proxy shenaniganry, but didn't check down here. So not everywhere, just making sure he's well defended.
I've got a 10 a.m. flight tomorrow.
You
nice
do.
And early.
You do.
Nice and early, 10 a.m.
So what you're saying is that HasuObs is possibly the worst player you could be casting today.
Did not say that, and definitely don't think that.
Oh, okay. Well, he likes to draw it out. But it's still fun to cast HasuObs. He plays a different brand than most players because he will stick it out till the very last moment. And he does well.
He does well. He does well. But he also creates long games.
He does. He does.
And I've got an early flight. But of course, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, HasuObs. If you give me the goodies, I'll accept minimal sleep.
Yes.
As I will be making my way to Eastern Europe.
You have a marathon on your hands,
Going to the Bucharest.
The Bucharest.
Where I rapped back in the day.
Oh,
a year
it was
ago.
there, wasn't it?
That was a tournament that I made myself an album called Rapollo, or Rapollo, however. Rapollo.
I like Rapollo.
Yeah, he was a legend, he was.
He was. Ooh, that block just did not happen. So we're going to be seeing some more rapping from you this weekend?
Well, it depends if the DJ wants a rap off again.
A rap off?
That's the only reason I started to rap, because he started to play his music loud.
Rap off with Rapollo.
I couldn't hear the game sound. That was a hell of an experience. I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear myself. Wait, it was a live concert 5 meters away. That's what happened at DreamHack. And then because there was a live concert 5 meters away and live StarCraft production, the entire electricity went poof.
Oh.
And the stream just turned off and everything was done and gone, and we had to like cancel the end of the day because it was just blown up.
Oh, dude, I remember there was one time I was casting the campus party over in Berlin in the airport that Hitler built. That was pretty cool. And there was a lot of noise, a lot of noise. It wasn't exactly the best production. But then on like day 3 or something like that, some robot drummer for like 10 meters away from me started up and was going on for like half an hour. I was like, I actually can't hear myself talking. I can't hear the game. I can't hear anything. But I plowed through. It was weird.
It's difficult to work under those conditions. Looking at this game, though, I was, while listening to your story, looking at these builds, Shuttle's gone for a very early engineering base, so a very early +1 attack. This is actually very good for defending a lot of gateway attacks, usually, because +1 helps a lot. And it also powers up the 10-minute push, which we see a lot from Terrans, with +1 attack and +1 armor. But on the other side of things, we have a very fast Stargate from HasuObs, who, in this game, has only scouted the same opening as before, 1 Reaper into a reactor. The 2 branches, the most common one is for a factory follow-up here, and then, as we saw previously, for barracks to be added on. So the Phoenix play would be able to counter out if it was any Medivac play, and an Oracle play could still work if he was able to drag units around like he is now and put the Oracle in the main base. So I'm interested to see which one he picks.
Certainly important. Imagine if he could kill off with just, 1 or 2 of these Marines. Shuttle's not going to allow that, though. What did he see?
Nothing.
We saw nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he didn't see that starport up to the top, Stargate up to the top. The Oracle's going to be on the way, but missile turret is going down at the front for Shuttle. Is he going to throw one down in the main? I don't think so. He's just anticipating DT's walking in more so than anything.
Yeah, he's just covering his bases at the moment because I mean, he scans and he saw that the gateway wasn't active, which is a little bit weird. He didn't see any of the tech structure, so usually the robotics facility isn't really hidden. It's just in the middle, and usually the other techs are hidden. So he is kind of feeling out that this could be something. He's looking around the top right with an SCV for any pylons, and he may luckily run into the Oracle here to give him a bit of a heads up.
Yeah, that's
congratulations.
Very nice.
He clicked on his SCV, he saw it. So he's pulling his Marines, he'll start a turret in the mineral line. And this is actually a very good setup from him. Yeah,
certainly so. HasuObs is going to be starting out on the back foot as the Oracle is trying to scoot around. Missile turret's going to finish up just briefly.
He's going to get a couple of kills. I don't know why he's pulling his SCVs, because the turret's done in the main base.
Yeah, so
I think that was a little bit of an overreaction there.
That might have actually caused maybe 1 more SCV kill there, but 3 do go down against 1. The Oracle doesn't really pay for itself just yet. He's adding on Phoenix to continue on with this tech route.
I don't get HasuObs' build here.
I don't mind Phoenix sometimes.
I mean, it's the Phoenixes are great. I love Phoenixes, but with a Twilight Council,
that's true.
like with Phoenix production, like he's got a lot of gas in the back. So Zealot Charge, it must be for a Temple Archives. Their Temple Archives comes in. An interesting build.
It's like
with Phoenixes, I haven't seen a build like this in a very, very long time. It's like a 2-base attack.
Yeah.
With Phoenixes to pick off the Medivacs and then just bunch of Zealots and Archons.
But also, it kind of makes sense in the way that, you know, to deal with drops, oftentimes you have to try and get Blink out to try and intercept the Medivacs. But if you've got Phoenix there as the threat instead of Blink, then you can get Charge out at this particular time, and you can get that Temple Archives going. So it's kind of cool.
The problem is Shuttle has no idea what's going on. He's going to throw down his 3rd command center soon. He may even move out in the middle of the map soon, and there's going to be quite a few units ready to deal with that. The way that Shuttle needs to deal with this, if he was a map hacker, is very simply, or if he was to scan, whatever case, if he was to see it, basically, is you sit back and you build a bunch of bunkers, you drop with a couple of units because he doesn't have a very good drop defense, and you just hold from the natural on. But in this regard, he has absolutely no idea what he's playing against, and HasuObs is changing things up. It's a completely different style to what he's known for.
Yeah.
And this could catch Shuttle off guard if he doesn't realize what's going on.
It could hurt a lot with these High Templars now banking up energy for Storm that is done very soon. The Hallucinate Phoenix flies in and sees what's going on from his opponent. Hasn't seen... Has he... Oh, he saw the movement out in the middle. He has Revelation on this army. Yep. So getting Storms on this army is going to be even easier.
All right, if he just walks up that ramp... He's going to lose a lot of units, and then because there's pylons on the other side of the map, he probably loses to a counterattack.
Double Forge behind this as well. Hasu looking to transition out, but...
Oh, what the hell? That's completely weird, but...
Yeah. Oh, well, he's going to push this away in the middle of the map. He's going to stim up and try and kill off some of these Zealots, but there are still High Templars there with the Storm.
One Storm goes down. Everything's been revealed now, and there's already a couple of bunkers coming in play. The next part of this story is for him to drop alongside the bunkers, and he's already got a drop on the way to the main base, but the Phoenixes, which are now going to come into use...
Yeah.
Are going to stop 1/2 of the defense that Shuttle's trying to pull off.
Yeah, it allows him to be that little bit more aggressive because he has that reassurance policy back at home. There he goes. The Phoenix killed it off. Shuttle's like, wait a minute, what? You had 3 Phoenix just waiting there the whole game? But yeah, they were there. And now, HasuObs. Well, that's a lot of bunkers.
That's a lot of bunkers here, indeed. This is going to be difficult to break. He's going to stim. He may kill a lot of SCVs here.
Oh, yes, he certainly may do.
He
Time warps as well with the force fields. Synergizing really, really well. Killing off bunker after bunker. 2 go down, but he doesn't have that many Zealots left.
Yeah, he doesn't. But remember, he's got +1 attack and +1 armor on the way behind this, so he doesn't really need to kill his opponent.
Yeah.
He just needs to keep the pressure on. He's got another Storm, so he can backlap with.
And Shuttle kind of overextending, I would say, there. Doesn't want to go anywhere near these extra Zealots that will be warping in. 8 gateways worth of production there for HasuObs. That's going to mean a lot of reinforcements very quickly.
Yeah, because of his tech choice going for Templar Archives, he already has the Twilight Council, so if he spends all his Chrono Boost into his forges, he can very easily go over to 2-2. The factory on the 3rd base is going to, spot this 3rd Nexus on the way. So he knows that this isn't a complete all-in, and that he knows that he has to be focused on getting his own 3rd command center down. But what we see from Shuttle is a very early Ghost Academy upon realizing this, and what could happen is he could bounce back with a strong attack of his own, not an all-in, but a strong attack of his own with Ghosts if they were to come out in good numbers, and he could do some damage.
But if he delays that, does HasuObs, once this 3rd base is down, say, double Robo time into kind of Robo Bay and then just pump out a load of Colossus?
Yeah, I mean, the Colossus eventually is going to come in, double robotics facility Colossus.
Yeah.
It's just, usually he'll want to do that as he's taking the 3rd assimilators, because right now his gas priority is going to be 2-2. So once 2-2 is down, and maybe a High Templar here and there, if not stop that by now, that's when we'll see the tech switch come in.
All right, well, Shuttle now, he's moving into a position to go for some kind of drop play. Once again, has been spotted by the Oracle, though, as he does drop the Revelation on the army, so a bit annoying there for Shuttle.
He's got double Ghost Academy coming. Pretty sure this is a mistake.
Yeah.
The only reason he'd need a double Ghost Academy is if he was going double nukes or something, but he does cancel it and add on a factory here.
Extra factory, as he lost his other one, so he wants the next one so that he can actually get up another starport.
Well, he needs it for an armory, and he needs it for a 2-2, which is coming very fast in for HasuObs, with a lot of Chrono Boost going down onto it. And one robotics facility being morphed in here. I'm surprised he just didn't go straight for 2. One is safer, of course, because that's not as much resources thrown into a tech switch.
And still revealed some of these units over here. Shuttle there that does dissipate now. So HasuObs knew where his opponent's army was for a while and could take an engagement if he wants to. He has some storms in this army. There's one.
I think he's going to take as many engagements as he can from the high ground with so many storms available.
There's quite a lot of ghosts as well, though, actually. Now 8 about.
Shuttle is really crumbling in this game. Just with the factory being picked off, the armory and engineering bays not being in. He is falling further and further behind in this game. He's still not mining from a third base. He's got a lot of ghosts. He's got a pretty powerful army right now because the Colossus switch has not been activated yet. And if he hits all his ghosts, EMPs and snipes, then there is definitely a timing to hit. But with 2-2 closing in, that window is narrowing down, and it's going to be more and more, and it gets progressively more difficult to deal with that. But look at the high Templar spread. It's going to be very difficult to eliminate all of them. Exactly. That's his best chance to win the game is now. Any longer in this game, then it's obviously just in HasuObs' favor.
The Rubber Bay is on the way here as well for HasuObs, so that transition is now slowly coming to fruition as the armory gets started up, but it's so far behind. The Zealots trying to do some harassment over at this third base. It's trying to land. Shuttle will clean that up, yes, but he's getting harassed at his natural as well.
HasuObs will have 3-3 probably before his opponent finishes with 2-2, which means it'll be 3-3 versus 1-1. This is the big difference between the majority of Protoss versus Terran games. Here comes the second robotics facility, so he'll climb in Colossus too. So right now 3-3 should start, and then all his gas will just go into Thermal Lance and the Colossus production. And that is absolutely deadly.
It really is. He sees that observer, but does end up getting out of range before that scan actually kills it off. And even now, with that second scan going down, revealing his opponent's army positioning, the observer still escapes. So not the best spot here for Shuttle thus far, as HasuObs takes a base over to the right-hand side as well. Things are not going Shuttle's ways, guys. It's HasuObs is it's so hard to break a Protoss when they have this many high Templars out during the mid game.
That's right. He's got them all over the place, and now with a bit of spare time on his hands, where he's just not really doing anything, is where we should see 3-3 come in. He's not really focusing too much on. He'll focus on this fight and defense now, but without 3-3 coming in, he's not actually pushing his advantages as hard as he could be. As mentioned, he would have had 3-3 complete by the end of 2-2 if that was the case.
Shuttle knows exactly where his opponent's army is. Nice EMP.
Look at HasuObs' army stuck in a corner.
Oh, yeah, that's really not the spot he wants to be in. He does land EMPs on those Zealots as well as they try and charge forwards to tank a lot of this damage. Guardian Shield covers half of it, but not the ones at the very front there. So the Bio still doing quite a lot. Storms continue to rain down. When he has 2 storms on that high Templar, he has to be so careful.
Yeah, but I think too much damage was dealt there to that army of Shuttle, and with HasuObs having such a great economy, again, ahead of his opponent. 70 probes to 57 SCVs. The income's just absolutely crazy here for HasuObs, considering the circumstances. And now with Colossus coming in, and there are only 2 Vikings, and there's about to be 3 Colossus, and it's only going to climb up 2 by 2 here. I'm finding it very difficult to find the avenues that Shuttle needs to take to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. He needs a 4th base ideally, so he can keep up with his opponent in terms of economy, because his main's going to be mined out in just a second, just a smidge quicker than HasuObs' as those mules were always there. And Shuttle, he's trying to do some damage over this 4th base, trying to find a way in to just kind of equalize the odds. But again, the army for HasuObs right now almost maxed out against Shuttles.
Yeah, this is not a good place to be in as a Terran player. So HasuObs is in full control of this game, in full control of his destination, next destination, which is the winner's match of this group. And he would, of course, be going up against the winner of Nurture and Titan, which is going to be our next game coming your way very soon. With the way that things are going here, even HasuObs finding a way to get a Zealot into the mineral line, while kind of dancing in the middle of the map with his opponent.
There's one SCV going for Hell for Leather here, down to the south, and may even got a probe kill there. But aside from that, still, army supplies 120 against 113. Better upgrades to a certain degree, as well as better composition. Doesn't want to push into a advantageous spot there, though, from Shuttle, as he had the superior concave, if not just a small one.
Let's have a look at the gateways for HasuObs. 10. Definitely could be 16. Definitely could be at 6 gateways right now, but I think he doesn't really care too much, because 10 Zealots being warped in to reinforce is probably enough. With the Dark Shrine finishing up, we're going to see DTs head towards the natural and main base here to start harassing, while Shuttle is trying to defend his 3rd.
Two Ghosts cloak on forwards here to try and get some big EMPs off. And
there's an Observer there, though.
Oh,
so.
he did catch 3 of those High Templars. That's nice. But yeah, the Observer, what was it? It was slightly out of range.
Yeah, it was with his army, but not quite in range of the Ghosts. 3 Colossus, the 4th and 5th one, are on their way. As well as 3-3. HasuObs, of course, just sitting back, building cannons. And if I was a pro player and Terran, I would not like to play against HasuObs.
No,
he's drive me crazy.
He's a tough one. The one maybe way that Shuttle could try and get into this is that if he takes a really good engagement with his Vikings and avoids the storms, because there's actually not that many Stalkers here, so that's not going to be too much of a threat to those Vikings. It's all about the storms on those.
All right, well, with 5 Colossus out here, there's 6 gateways, yes, 16's a magic number, 6 extra gateways coming in. Plus 3/3, or plus 3 attack and plus 3 armor on the way. Cloak Ghosts do move in. The Ghosts are going to just get a couple of good EMPs down.
Yeah, he's actually losing those Colossi very, very quickly there. Time Warp goes down to deny that bio from pushing forwards towards the army, but he's just going straight towards the natural here. Ghost working on the probes whilst the army is kind of sealed out of position. He has to be careful. That's a lot of Zealots, though, charging forwards here. The Vikings, they've killed all the Colossi.
It's not the best fight from HasuObs at all. Kind of scrappy, very, very, very scrappy here.
Yeah.
The High Templars were not in good flanking positions. The Colossus were dancing at the front. He's using DTs to try to kill this army, and he should be able to kill it, especially with 3 seconds to complete.
Oh, and that Storm as well, really ripping through a lot of that Bioforce, forcing Shuttle away. He was losing that engagement up until that point with those DTs, you're right.
Yeah, just not the best fight from HasuObs, but with his lead, he didn't need to take the best fight.
No.
Do you know what I think he did? I think he said, hey, babe. He's like, aren't you playing WCS? And he's like, yeah, I'm so far ahead against Shuttle. Do you want to jump on? And sounds wrong, that, but I meant jump in the seats.
I was going to say. Yeah. Jump
in the seat and you want to play for me.
Play, yeah.
And that kind of describes that last fight because it wasn't a very good one.
All right.
Welcome to WCS Europe. This is what we do.
Yeah.
All right. Paul opens his mouth. Stupid stuff comes out sometimes.
Okay. So that was the first series done here, guys, for today. HasuObs, he advances on to that winners match to see if he's going to play against Titan or Nurtio. Personally, I'm looking forward to this series, as well as what else Sean has to say about the series as well. That'd be good. Anything else? No? I'm done. All right, let's go to a commercial break, and then when we're back, we shall have Titan versus Nurtio.